We are live. Welcome to 4 Days into Football. I'm Adam, that's Cyrus, that's Mike, and that's Miles. We are going to be talking about championship weekend from the NFC and the AFC. And we have our Super Bowl fucking matchup this, what? No, in 2 weeks. We got 2 weeks. Our Super Bowl matchup is the Bengals and the Rams. Never would have thought the Bengals would have, we would be talking about the Bengals in the Super Bowl this year. Dude, they had the number one pick in the draft 2 years ago, and they are going to the Super Bowl. Miles, I'll give it up to you. Not that I ever really doubted them to an extent. I've always given Joe Burrow the credit due this year, but man, they fucking pulled it out
I agree. I
against.
think that they belong there too, because of Joe Burrow. I think Jamar Chase has a big part to do with that. But this guy, man, this defense is their offensive line is a sieve. We all know that. I mean,
Yep.
things just go right through. But this kid gets knocked down and comes back and just punches you in the face every time.
And doesn't
Like,
fumble the ball as much as he got sacked with the Titans, and as much times as he got knocked down or hit in this last games against Kansas City. He doesn't let go of the ball.
Yep.
Painfully so.
Yeah,
Dude's got an iron grip on that fucking thing.
I love Joe Burrow and how he's been in the playoffs. It's an all-time playoff run already. The Super Bowl could make it even more so. And he reminds me, and not just because of recent nostalgia with Brady retiring and all that, not to spoil it, but in the early 2000s when Brady was really getting into the Patriots starting lineup, he was the guy that was just kind of managing the game, didn't make the big mistake, but he made a lot of smart plays. And that was kind of his calling card for a long time before he had the bust out seasons in, like '07 and whatnot. But Burrow is kind of combined all that. Like he doesn't play cautious. He plays to win. He plays smart, and he's got no offensive line yet. Like you guys said, there's no turnovers to go there. A rookie quarterback or a young quarterback coming off an ACL tear, no less, should not be in a situation where he's not throwing picks under duress and fumbling the ball and being more of a liability. He has single-handedly put this team on his back on a lot of games against really good teams.
Indeed. So Andy Reid played the hits Sunday. I mean, I know we're wanting to. Congratulations to the Bengals. I'm very happy for the city of Cincinnati. They deserve to be there, minus the offensive line. They don't. But Andy Reid played the hits, folks. They were up 21. Was it 21-3?
Yep.
The play calling just changed on a dime. His quarterback turned into a turtle, or I guess he turned into Donovan McNabb. It's hard to tell. I couldn't tell if I was watching Chiefs Bengals or Eagles Buccaneers circa 2002. Like, what was that?
I put it on Mahomes, man. He turned. I've never seen him look like that. He did this little whirly bird thing in the backfield where he was running backwards and sideways, and they were after the game. They had lots of replays. They showed a lot of these plays. He had open receivers and just didn't pull the trigger.
Okay. That offense in the first half could have beaten the 2000 Ravens or the 85 Bears. And that offense in the second half wasn't beating the 2016 Browns or the 2008 Lions.
How do you really
bizarre.
feel about it? Tell me how you really feel about
it.
Dude,
it was upsetting because, their offense in the first half was so damn dominant. It was.
You know what? Matter of fact, I was texting with Miles at the beginning of the game. I was like, man, this looks like a rout. This looks like, this is going to be shit. And lo and behold, it turned into a great game. You know what? That's exactly how the last time they played when they got together. That's exactly how it went that time, too. They ended up winning that game. What was that, like 34-31? And, dude, what a fucking game. What a game.
In Week 17, though, the Chiefs' offense never sputtered. In this one, they just stopped. Patrick Mahomes had a QB rating of 0 in the second half. They just stopped. It was a choke.
He choked. He definitely choked.
And choking, I get unreasonably angry when good teams choke like this. And it's been happening a lot in these playoffs, so I've been unreasonably angry a lot in these playoffs.
It was a choke job for sure, especially towards the end of, I guess it was regulation, they were down there, and I think they got down as close as the 5-yard line, and had a couple of plays where he just either took a sack or it was some kind of a play for a loss, and they got knocked way back to where it was like, kind of a mid-range field goal. But it looked like the Chiefs had finally picked up some kind of steam, and they were going to go in and score. If they got a touchdown there, that game's over. But they ended up kicking the field goal, and I guess that was to tie it. And then it went to overtime, and it was over, man. I mean, and the defense, all the we need to change the overtime rules crowd from last week, they got it handed to them because the Bengals stepped up and they did exactly what they had to do.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to bring that up. I knew you were going to touch on that. As soon as the Bengals won, I'm not shitting you. As soon as the Bengals won, I was like, God damn it, Mike's going to bring up this whole fucking overtime bullshit. And you know what? I couldn't help but feel the same way after that game, dude.
Doesn't change how I feel about the rule. It's still the overtime rules still suck, but it was, damn it, you win this round. I'll give you that one.
But I mean,
you take them when you get them.
Even Josh Allen tweeted something about them winning the toss. It's just like here we go or some shit like that.
Burrow joked in the press conference that usually if you lose the coin toss to Mahomes, you lose the game. So
he's not wrong.
Exactly.
True.
And I actually have thought about it more over the week. I kind of agree with Adam's 10-minute soccer style OT rule.
Or just add time to it. Like, damn it, if it's tied, we're going to keep playing until there's a winner. Period.
I think there's enough momentum to change the rules in the offseason. I'm not saying it's not going to change. I'm just saying, there's two sides to the coin here.
Well, the NFL could use some goodwill.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Hey, so Burrow played great. It's hard to take away his second half performance, but I'm just mad at the Chiefs. I mean, that was a choke job.
So was it a choke job in the 49ers and the Rams game?
Yeah. But I mean,
really?
Shanahan does that too. I'm used to that by the Niners. The Niners, that's Shanahan, folks. He's been doing that his whole life.
That wasn't Shanahan. That's Jimmy or the lack thereof, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, by extension, Garoppolo sucks too. But yeah, that was a choke job as well.
I thought
that makes
Kyle
a perfect
Shanahan,
couple to go that way.
Yeah, I thought he had a pretty good coaching game, honestly. I thought the team wasn't able to pull it off.
He did. They were playing what I thought, based on the way things have gone over the course of the season, those two teams have played each other close. And, it's been kind of a dangerous game for the Rams. But I felt like the Rams were the better team. I think we all called the Rams to win that game, didn't we? One of us called the 49ers.
It was definitely close.
Yeah, it was close.
The Rams, but the Niners were in the lead.
You called the Niners, Mike. Sorry.
No. Oof.
You almost had it.
Hey, I called the Chiefs. I think didn't we all call the Chiefs though?
No.
Miles, did you call the Bengals?
No, you had me. You and I both had the Bengals Rams.
Oh.
Wow.
How about that? I had no clue. I'll be damned. Thank you.
Jimmy G will kill you in a big game, man. It was destined to happen. He wasn't putting a good spot
in the bet.
He wasn't putting a good spot at the end of the game, but that's not the guy I want leading the fourth quarter drive to win it.
No,
he's just not looked very good at all. I mean, I haven't watched him throughout his career a great deal, but this year I feel like I've seen him play 3 or 4 games now, and he just does not look trustworthy. He has a starting quarterback. Like the decisions he makes are.
I hate to be that guy. He's pre-hand injury Marcus Mariota.
Well, I think you're onto it. Mariota lost a lot of confidence. I think that people just figured out Garoppolo. I think he's got more of a Matt Castle career arc, where he kind of came out, had a couple years, but then the couple things he did well, people picked up on it, and there's a defense out there that just confuses him all to shit, and they've started running it every game.
Damn, I thought Mariota was brutal, but you had to compare the Matt Castle? Damn, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Castle had some good seasons. He
went to a Pro Bowl. He went to a Pro Bowl.
I'm honestly, dude, I'm happy for Matt Stafford. Matthew Stafford, dude. I'm glad he's going to the Super Bowl. I think they've got a real chance. I mean, I would want to say that they are the favorite in my eyes, but honestly, at this point, I really don't fucking know anymore. Because I mean, the Rams didn't play that good of a game, and I'll tell you what, dude, they won that game despite Sean McVay. He made some terrible decisions during that game, dude. As far as time management and the whole challenge thing, that wasn't even close.
Yep, the timeouts.
That
They were out of
wasn't even
timeouts by middle of the
close.
third quarter.
I know, dude. He made some dumb calls and used up he only got 2 challenges because the one that he thought was a fumble. Didn't he call a timeout as well?
At first.
Don't you get penalized for doing that?
Well, if you wind
No,
up
you can't
challenging
call
it, you can get your timeout back. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's if you win the challenge.
But you can't call timeout twice or 2 times in a row. That you get penalized for that. So
I do think Stafford played a decent game. It's and McVay, man, that was really unlike him.
Yes, I agree. I thought he lost confidence in that second half and just looked kind of like he didn't know, like it, go deer in the headlights kind of look on him. But if Jared Goff was still their quarterback, they wouldn't have pulled it off. With Stafford behind them, wheel, I think that really helped out a great deal because he can throw the ball.
I didn't realize Sean McVay's 36 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he young.
He's 4 years younger than his left tackle.
Wow.
This is the young, and Zach Taylor's only 38. This is the youngest coaching matchup in the history of the Super Bowl.
Probably.
Did y'all see the crowd ratio there?
Mm-hmm. The Rams game?
Wasn't it mostly?
It was 50-50.
Well, LA.
I mean, it's LA.
LA wanted the Raiders.
Instead, they got the Rams and the Chargers.
They definitely didn't want the fucking Chargers. No one wants the fucking Chargers.
Well, I will say though, man, I didn't really know how big of an upgrade Stafford was going to be when they traded Goff. But you're right. I mean, you nailed it dead. There's no way that Goff would have made some of the throws that Stafford made, especially in crunch time. And going back to last week when you made that long throw to Kupp to set up the game winner, I mean, that stuff would never come off of Goff's arm. And, the defense has to respect that, and it plays the Rams different, which is going to really play into their hands in the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. I think it's going to be kind of high scoring because you can't really bank on the Bengals defense for a long period of time. And I don't know, man. Jalen Ramsey got beat a couple of times. I don't think that the Rams are really set up to run, for 60 minutes and not give up a bunch of points either.
Ramsey's overrated. If it's Jamar Chase on Jalen Ramsey, that's not going to last very long. That's going to turn into double coverage Chase. I'll take Jamar Chase 10 times out of 10. That'll be a whooping. Other than that, though, I mean, that D-line against the Bengals O-line, good God. You know what the Titans did to him was bad? This is Von Miller and Aaron Donald are mad, and they're coming for Joe Burrow. Uh-oh.
Oh, man.
So is
Guys
Adam.
in jump ship. We got a Bobby Petrino amongst us.
Oh, dear. That's a hell of a reference.
Bring them all out, man. It's the damn Super Bowl episode.
I used to be a WKU fan, so that's even weirder for me.
He coached there twice, did he?
Yeah, he coached there once. It was complicated. I'm glad he left. I have buddies who are Kentucky fans. They hate his guts.
Isn't that Big Red WKU?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna when I wanted to be a journalist. That's where I was gonna go was WKU because they're the biggest journalism school in the South. But yeah, that dream's dead. Thank God.
That's typically what dreams do.
Well, as you can see, being a journalist, as you can see by my username, being a journalist this weekend hasn't been kind.
Oh man, Schefter took it, and it was funny. I don't know if this is really the arc that we wanted to go, but when he put out the tweet that Brady was retiring, and then there was so much pushback for Brady to just turn around the next day and retire, like that's the ultimate just Three Stooges routine. Like it's hilarious, but I'm always happy to see Schefter take a little bit in the face.
I had fun. And now that he's actually retired, I mean, I'm glad I got to see him play once. That's always something I could say to people. I mean, he's Tom Brady. He's 7 times. I've never seen a season without Brady. There's never been a season in my lifetime without Tom Brady. Fun fact.
Right.
Isn't that fucked up?
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's true.
Um,
Did you guys watch that link to the Eli Manning video I sent you?
Yeah,
I did.
I liked that. That was good.
Oh my god! And Eli Manning, I mean, dude, he's made like an entire kind of like a low key career on just razzing Brady for winning those 2 Super Bowls. I love it, man. I mean, and all these
Great.
memes about Eli being Brady's dad. It's the best.
dude, those 2 Super Bowls were so good too. I mean, the helmet catch in 2007 and then that final drive in 2011.
The Manningham dime.
So good.
Dude, I watched that Super Bowl on like a 6-inch screen in a hospital room. It was the day after Sarah was born in 2012.
Wow.
And this thing, like, the stereo sound can kind of get off if you have surround on TVs. We couldn't figure out how to fix it. So I got none of the broadcasters. It was just the crowd screaming the whole time.
That's
so
good.
I could see like Collinsworth talking, but I couldn't hear his wow,
My bad.
So,
So 07 was the Fox. I was about to say, you got lucky. You missed out on Buck, but no, it was the Michaels. That was the NBC one.
yeah, I got bucked, but no Collinsworth.
Dude, the only place that I remember being at when I was watching a football game was I remember where I was at the Music City Miracle game.
Yeah.
I was listening it on the radio with Cyrus's dad at work together.
He tells that story as well. And
It's that's it. That's the only one I remember. I couldn't tell you any other Super Bowl.
apparently a couple fans strolled by y'all like, y'all Bills fans, and you're like, no, y'all gotta hear this shit.
Dude,
It was awesome.
The only other game, I don't remember a lot of mine either, but the other one I do remember was the 2008 Super Bowl with John Madden's last game that he called. It was the Steelers and Cardinals and the Santonio Holmes catch. So I think I'm rooting for the Cardinals, and Jenny and I hadn't been dating a whole long time at this point. She was rooting for the Steelers, and it got really contentious, especially the fourth quarter. And there was some shit talking, man, between me and my future wife in this room full of people. Like it got pretty tense. But because she was swearing up and down that he called the ball. I was like, there is no fucking way that he tiptoed both those toes in the end zone. And history shows I was incorrect, as is traditionally the case.
I remember being a little kid watching that Super Bowl and just thinking, I thought it was the greatest football game that will ever happen. I was like 7.
It's overlooked a lot, but it really is pretty close. You think of the James Harrison thing, the fact that Larry Fitzgerald has
pick 6.
Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald has an all-time game for the ages. Plus, he really had the game winner before that Steelers drive. And if they come up short, he's remembered in even a better light than he already is.
Larry Fitz. I mean, that's the second greatest Super Bowl play that will never be remembered ever, behind McNair's escape sack play. That also will not be remembered. Third is that Julio Jones catch in the 28-3 game.
Yep, or Jermaine Kearse, the Seahawks. He had one of those bobble catches in
I remember that
14 Super Bowl.
Well, what about Brady coming out and saying that the tuck rule was a fumble?
Wasn't that McDaniels?
Well, I thought it was Brady that said it, joking around on the podcast.
When he got it might have been both of them, because Al Davis's kid, Mark, is that his name, Mark?
Yeah,
but,
Mark.
The Davis kid, he announcing when he hired McDaniels, apparently one of the first things Josh McDaniels said to him was, "It was a fumble," referencing the tuck rule. I love pandering.
Dude, yeah, and there's so much that's happened this week we haven't even got close to. I've forgotten so much of it. Like, there's so many big coaching hires, and all the other stuff that happened today. But all that aside, man, McDaniels getting the coaching job was a real shocker to me that he even took the Raiders interview.
Denver fans are all throwing caution, like this is a terrible. I mean, this guy drafted Tim fucking Tebow. I don't know what to say. Hopefully, he's learned a lot.
Who's Denver got coming?
Denver has
Matt Eberflus. No, wait, no, that I'm thinking the Bears coach.
I don't think Denver's hired anybody yet.
Okay.
Minnesota made a big splash today with the Harbaugh signing.
Yeah.
My favorite part about that is Michigan fans are in shambles because today is National Signing Day. This dude
Oh
leaves
my
his
God.
college coaching gig on National Sighting Day. I love it.
That's pretty bad.
But Harbaugh was a great NFL coach in San Francisco. Won a lot of games. He's probably going to get Cousins the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
he can Alex Smith that thing for a minute.
So what kind of quarterback do you think he brings in?
Probably someone Kaepernick-esque. Someone who can run and throw. Someone he can run a lot of RPOs with. I think he enjoys that style of offense.
That'd be interesting given the stuff that they have there. I mean, with Justin
He-
Jefferson and Thielen and some really good receiver pieces, you tend to not want to have the quarterback running the ball all the time. But that's actually something I was thinking about too, is because, I mean,
I
that's
wouldn't be
in
surprised
San
if he goes
Francisco, it's like all
QB
he
this
did.
year. If Harbaugh goes QB this year, thinking he can turn somebody out of this class into a run and gun QB, because
He
talent is not as much of an issue when it comes to develop. If you're a QB whisperer and you're developing a true system quarterback, first round talent isn't as much of an issue.
I like the guy from the backup second string in Baltimore. If you guys are talking about
Oh, that would be a
somebody
great
with young
idea
legs.
for Minnesota. Huntley
Yep.
looked great in his starts.
I think
Is
that
every-
boy from Liberty is going to be something to talk about. The CBS Sports has him coming out right now for the Titans, which I said that before they released their little fucking mock draft. But Malik Willis is his name.
We got mock drafts.
Yeah, I know, right?
Is
Already
he a
happening.
quarterback?
Yes, he's a quarterback. He's
From
a
where?
run and gun quarterback out of Liberty. Check him out.
Yeah, that sounds like something the Titans would do.
It does,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah, we get our quarterbacks from Hawaii and Washington State.
Well,
What?
Oregon.
Oregon.
Our best quarterback of all time comes from Alcorn State. So
Well, yeah.
there you go.
Him and Brett Favre got the old Sissa Miffin
And
coming there.
if you want to count the Oilers, our best QB of all time spent significant time in fucking Canada. So there you go.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
be mad if they did that, though. I mean, to bring in somebody to push Tannehill that could potentially be like the future of the franchise, or maybe not. I mean, it could be a high-end, quality backup player, young guy with some upside. That'd be kind of cool if they pulled like a late first, early second-round draft pick on a guy like that.
That'd be
I haven't
nerve-wracking.
seen him play. He may be all that in a bag of chips. I have no idea. I just think it's funny
I don't either.
what you said about the type where he's coming from.
I'd rather straight up, if you want to replace Tannehill that badly, heck, I mean, let's trade some pieces for like Lamar Huntley then. I don't know. I don't think you can get rid of Tannehill that easily this year.
They're not getting rid of him.
Wait a year. It's a good QB class. Tannehill's probably on the road to getting hurt anyway. And then you tank.
Who's the backup for the Titans? I don't even
Logan Woodside. He sucks.
know. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
At least
Definitely could upgrade a little bit.
Wow.
he's been the backup quarterback at least since the Mariota era. And yeah, he's not looked good in the preseason. And yeah,
Well, the quarterback market's going to be interesting because if you think about Kirk Cousins potentially, with Harbaugh coming in, how that's going to look, we don't know. He could be floating around or traded. Garoppolo is definitely getting traded. They've just about admitted that today in their postseason presser between Shanahan and John Lynch. And then you have Baker Mayfield could be going. Tampa's now in the market for quarterbacks, and they have more teams looking for more quarterbacks. It's going to be really wild this year. Whereas, like the last couple of years, there was a lot of options at quarterback, and some guys didn't wind up getting a starting spot. They had to take second-tier money. And this year, you kind of have like the flip side. Like there's not enough quarterbacks to feed all the teams that need one.
there's going to be a lot of teams tanking for a quarterback next year. That's going to be the issue.
Yeah, speaking of tanking, Brian Flores accused the owner of, in his new lawsuit that he filed today in New York City. One of the accusations was against the Dolphins, and the owner offered him $100,000 per game to tank. That way, they could have got Joe Burrow. Yeah,
There's got to be some laws against that in the NFL code book or something. Like you can't pay the coach to lose. That just
Oh, there is.
Oh, yeah.
The only league I've ever known to even somewhat kind of allow this is when the NBA didn't really act on the Sixers' whole process deal.
Yeah.
The process was something else. But that guy got fired, and he's never going to get a job in the NBA again. That GM is blacklisted.
Right.
There's no official rule in the NBA against it, though. But
No.
But they've made it very clear in the NFL that they're not going to put up with the tanking, like the open out there, tanking to tank season. The closest anybody came was the Buccaneers, the last game of the season against the Saints a few years back, when they put their second string in with the lead in the game.
That was bullshit.
Yeah, and they lost to the Saints on purpose. They get the first round pick to go get, or the first overall pick to go get Winston. That worked out great, by the way.
In hindsight, neither pick worked out for either team, so whatever.
Yeah, but they didn't get pick six on the first overall pick. But they got pick six on everything else afterwards. But man, I think in all honesty, it's going to open up a lot of stuff. What really kind of geeks me about that specific part of this is that gambling being what it is now with the NFL, and they're in bed with the gambling money, trying to add billions to their revenue every year, kind of siding with DraftKings and all these other betting systems or platforms. I'm not very familiar, but I know that that's like a big thing for them. Well, if you have that, and then you have people behind the scenes trying to dictate the outcome of games by throwing it, it's the same as throwing a heavyweight fight. And that's going to invite Congress in, and it's going to invite a lot of regulatory people in, because now you're actually dealing with fraud. And this is huge on so many levels. That's one of the biggest ones, and that's why it's going to have a lasting impact. This is going to be NFL either denying it 100% and fighting it with everything they can, and eventually settling it, or if they're actually dumb enough to take this all the way, the landscape of things is going to change a lot.
As it needs to, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, tanking has obviously been a thing in the NFL for a while.
Yep.
I mean, you can't look at what some of these rosters have looked like in the past. I'm thinking of such classic examples. I mean, last year's Lions team, the 2016 Browns, 2014 Titans, the 2010 Colts. These rosters were not built to succeed in any fashion. These rosters were built to lose, and lose badly.
I don't know about the 2014 Titans, but that kind of makes it sadder. Other than that, I agree.
No, I mean, they were starting Jackie Battle at halfback, dude. Come on, that's not an attempt to win.
It was hard to watch, but I get your point.
I don't know who any of these people are. That must be an attempt to tank. Damn it.
Well, I mean, this, like I said, this lawsuit's going to open up all kinds of things. Whether not just the betting thing, but the way the whole coaching hiring process, like. We were talking before we came on here, dude. Like, it's, a lot of these teams are just interviewing minorities because they have to. It's, Bill Belichick kind of proved that with his little fucked up sending a wrong text to the wrong person, or sending the right text to the wrong person, I should say. He thought he was talking to the coach of the Giants, Brian Diablo. What's his name?
Dabo.
What a stupid name. Thought he was talking to him, but ends up, was actually talking to Brian Flores, and he was like, hey, pretty much telling him congratulations on getting the job before, he even got interviewed for it. And then Brian Flores was like, hey, are you talking to this Brian, or are you talking to me, Brian? He's like, oh, Belichick responded like, oh, fuck. I fucked this up, man. My bad. Yeah, did you read that, Mike?
Yeah, and you know what the takeaway I had from that is I didn't know Bill Belichick sent text.
Yeah,
I know,
that
right?
surprises me too. Actually,
I think back to the snap face comments he made a few years ago. The snap face or whatever. Yeah. Of course he fucked up a text. He's like 70. How old is he now?
72, isn't he?
He's 72. He's navigating a cell phone. I mean,
yeah. Well,
wow.
All I know is this. I'm going to state my opinion real quick on this. I don't know this coach. I've never met this coach, but I feel like I've been watching the NFL long enough to know that there is issues there. And if this guy, whether or not he's doing this for attention or whether for his purpose, I think that it's a good purpose to have. If he actually is genuine and he wants to see this through for good change, then I agree with that. If he's just trying to
I mean,
say
dude,
here I am and put I agree with that too. Like, I mean, I don't think he's doing any wrong here, basically. But I think that the NFL is probably going to make it out to look like he's some kind
I'm
of
sure the
trash,
NFL's
this
going
and
to try
that and
to
the other, and
make a villain out of him, no
Mhm.
doubt. I mean, they got to save face. I mean, dude, he filed the lawsuit the same day that he's got a job interview at New Orleans Saints. I mean, I
That's
don't
This is
know.
only going to be the beginning. It's going to get. This is going to get wild before it's over.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm wondering if are the Washington tapes going to come out more?
Oh, I hope so.
There you go. Wow. I
I
forget
mean,
about
this is going
them.
to get spicy, man.
That could all be part of this. And, I didn't even think about that till you just said it, but that could all be part of this. The thing that really scares the NFL completely to death, and they almost admit it in the actions that they did in the St. Louis Rams lawsuit. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but
A little
St.
bit,
Louis,
but not much.
yeah, St. Louis sued them for relocating, and they got very close to getting this case to trial at the end of this last year because they lost all the legal challenges that they threw up to try to stop the lawsuit, discredit it, right? So they finally had set a trial date, which means billionaires were going to be on the stand, their finances were going to be part of discovery, and those are two things that they absolutely don't want. They'd rather see somebody killed than have these guys get out there, because think of like Jerry Jones getting on the stand. You could probably entrap Jerry Jones into saying some stupid shit that would get a lot of people hung, so to speak. And, that's what they didn't want. So they settled it. It was a 9-figure settlement. And, they had some things where there was a lot of stuff wrapped into it. It wasn't just cash, but everybody was happy there. I would see something similar happen in this type of case. But again, the discovery process, as all this stuff rolls out, stuff's going to leak out, and it's all going to be bad for the league. And they can already see this coming. They're very defensive about this already, and it's going to get real bad. Let me tell you the next step. Tomorrow morning, they've already said that Brian Flores is going to do a CBS This Morning interview. You want to talk about taking him to the woodshed? He's coming out and putting everything public. How many people file lawsuits against multi-billion-dollar corporations and ask for this much attention up front? Usually there's some back channeling and stuff, but he's putting it right out there, and this is going at warp speed, guys.
It is, but what, like, is it going to? How much is this going to determine how things, the outcome of this? The other non-white personnel in the NFL that are not players, coaches, staff, or whatever it may be, will they be able to rally, or is the NFL going to have their thumb on that? I mean, don't you feel that the support of other minority, but whether it's black or whatever minority, because there's other minorities working in the NFL as well. So I mean, it would take them to rally around him for this cause, don't you think? I mean, to some degree. Or can they be snuffed out by? Well, I'm sure they can be snuffed out, or will they be snuffed out?
That's interesting. I really don't know
Hold
the answer
on,
to
let
that.
me. So, the NFL, that would be up to the NFL Coaches Association as well, I believe. Because if minority coaches were to want to do something, that would be a labor. The most effective thing they could probably do would be a labor stoppage. And they'd have to take that up with the NFL Coaches Association, and that would be interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
So another thing I noticed in some of the text about that the lawsuit they filed, he's also accusing of the owner of having a meeting on a yacht with some executives and trying to work out getting Tom Brady, is from what I understand, like pretty much as close to tampering as you can get. And according to Cyrus, they were not, like, Tom Brady wasn't on the yacht or anything, and Brian Flores left the meeting before it could get to tampering. I'm not really clear.
Brian Flores essentially prevented it from being tampering. The owner of the Dolphins, I'm just going to call him Ross because that's his name, I guess. He wanted to set up a impromptu meeting, basically he wanted to align it as a coincidence of a meeting between the two, where he invited Brady on the yacht. Flores immediately knew, oh, I know what you're doing. you're inviting Brady here while I'm also here, while Tom Brady's a free agent. So Flores was like, oh, I'm going to get the hell out of here before this is proven to be tampering.
Hmm.
Ross was trying to set up a coincidental meeting between a
Right.
head coach.
No, I mean, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it, but
It was
That
definitely
sounds
going to
kind
be.
of. Ooh, I don't know, man.
It happens in the NBA all the time.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but it sounds like this Flores is not very bright if he's just on a yacht with Tom Brady. Like, how did
No,
you don't
no,
just
no, it didn't
find
happen.
yourself there?
that didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
No, he stopped that from happening. That was the plan.
Oh, I thought you said it ended up happening, but him being there was what stopped it from there. I misheard the whole thing. Excuse me.
Well, he was gonna. He had no intentions on meeting with Brady and intentionally avoided meeting with Brady
Gotcha.
to avoid tampering, which this kind of quote unquote tampering happens in sports all the time. It's considered innocent in most leagues.
No, I know. I mean, I could, that's just kind of I guess icing on the cake for him. I guess because I mean he's got
It's
a
the way the
way
world
more
works.
serious shit going on in this lawsuit.
Isn't this how every NBA super team has been formed, Miles?
I just know that that's how business is conducted across the world. Like it's not the way that you and I think it is conducted. It is done behind closed doors and in places that you and I will never go. And such as life.
Very much true.
I mean, there is literally, just to put this into perspective, and it's off topic, but senators literally can buy and sell stocks before they pass or decline bills.
Yeah, I know.
Literally. So this is just the dark side of business. It's done on every fucking level, and it doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't care. Just play football.
It worries me if they're bringing the game.
Continue to be a twisted wreck for years to come. Just the way that they conduct business and how they're consistently stuck in the same spot. Doesn't matter who the coach or the quarterback is. That's, I think, really a bigger takeaway, from how all that happened, is that they literally don't have a clue, and they're not going to get one. And I don't think anybody's going to take that job. Who are they going to hire as a head coach of the Dolphins? Would you? I mean, what a David Culley move that would be to get anybody to come in there after all that and then announce him as head coach.
You said the same thing about Houston last year.
Yeah.
And it took someone like David Culley taking that job.
He might take the Dolphins' job.
Exactly. This dude's going to end up
I'm
back in the
just
NFL.
saying, dude. I mean, it's only logical. I mean, Brian Flores, he interviewed for the Houston job. I thought that's where he was going. I was like, damn, that's going to suck for the Titans. Then all this shit come out. It was like, oh, well.
The Texans are going to probably hire Josh fucking McCown, and we're all going to laugh at them. It's going to be great.
Mike Cyrus is very down on the whole Josh McCown coach thing. He thinks it's going to be the worst disaster.
It's going to be worse than Urban Meyer. It's going to be great.
It'll be bad. I don't think it's going to be the same flavor as Urban Meyer, but I think
it won't be the same flavor.
Yeah, I think he's completely underskilled to be an NFL head coach, which is essentially becoming the CEO of a $1 billion corporation. It's different. And even though he played quarterback for years, was backup and kind of a de facto coach. No, it's awful idea if they do that, and I'm all here for it.
He spent so much time on the sidelines, man. He's got to know something.
He did.
Hey man, I spent
sideline where
2 years as a middle school water boy. I guess I could be a middle school head coach too.
Yes, that's all it takes. Well, you got to know one. You got to know one above you. That would help.
Well, I know how to call the same running play over and over.
That's all the coaching is. That's the only way you get jobs is basically whose family member do you know?
Well, you got to think of it though. How else would it happen, man? Other than being a player and then moving up to a coach, because there's not particularly a school for coaching NFL football.
No, I
graduates come from each year. So I mean, the nasty of it is there's not really any other solution to that other than players.
Most coaches start out as assistants at the college level, and then from there they decide if they're going to be a head coach in college where they want to deal with all the recruiting nonsense, or if they're going to be a head coach in the NFL where they actually get to coach.
I will say in recent years, it kind of seems like there's more and more head coaches that come in there, and they don't really strike me as guys who are players. Like, they just became grad assistants and kind of like organically started as a coach. Like I know, what was the guy? He coached for Kansas City for a couple years, and then not Charles Haley, Todd Haley. He was like he had like a golfing major in college, and then somehow became an NFL coach. Never played it down, and head coached the team. And I was blown away by that. But these guys like Zach Taylor and stuff, they don't strike me as guys that really got to play because they're still young enough that if they were, they would still be playing. Either that or they were specialists or quarterbacks or something, and I wasn't made aware. But I mean, you don't have a lot of the players who became coaches who then become head coaches kind of guys right now.
No, there's not, and that's why like you're going for brothers and brother-in-laws and uncles and nephews, anybody that's got any experience around a NFL football or just a football.
Everybody
You've thrown a football in your life and you're related to me. Sign it here.
I saw the other day Wade Phillips. I think his nephew is a quarterback coach for the Rams, or he's in the quarterback coaching room for the Rams. And so Wade Phillips, son of Bum Phillips, that's 3 generations. It's like that's insane.
That is. That's a lot. I mean, how many Shanahans are there? Does he have a son that's some kind of coach?
Yeah.
Probably.
I feel like it's almost like the level of the presidency and the government with these guys, man, because like you think that there's so many people out there that are better suited for the ones that actually have it, and there probably are, but they don't get a chance because this is small.
See, that was a thing that Bud Adams had. Like he had a zero tolerance for. He like you can't have your family work here with you. Jeff Fisher wanted his son to come work here, and Bud Adams was like, nope, it's your son. We don't do that here.
Yeah, it's unique. The 32 of them in the whole fucking world is all there is of those jobs. So it
is very political, though. I mean,
yes, it's very political and very inner circle, and it's retarded. Excuse me for my language. To think that this group of people are the only people that can that can be successful in the NFL as head coaches. I'm sure there's thousands of people that are plenty capable of doing it, but they seem to like. I don't understand why old boy's down in Dallas for the past 2 years. Why did he get another job? Mike McCarthy. Like, why do these people keep getting second chances that have not shown anything in the past decade of any kind of substance?
And it's an issue in all 4 major sports leagues. The only league that's making any sort of close to strides to fixing it's the NBA, and they're still not all that close. But I mean, it's straight up killing baseball. They're on strike right now because of it. And that's a lot. That's a big part of it is because of the old boys club they don't want to pay them more and they don't want to fix the rules. And the old people are killing baseball. It's hurting hockey, and it's been hurting hockey for a decade now.
Something's going to give.
Something's going to give, and it's not going to be good. Well, it might be good, but usually it's not
going to be good.
Come out good.
I'm a nihilist. Usually it ends poorly.
It'll be dirty, and then it'll be good at the end. Be all pretty.
Yeah. So, all right. Anyways, enough of that shit.
That was a good discussion, though. That was a good discussion.
What do y'all got for the Super Bowl?
Oh.
Now, who do you want, but who do you think is going to win?
Man, a smart person has to bet the Rams.
Right.
Someone said it, I think, before we went on air about, it might have been Cyrus, about the Aaron Donald and Von Miller versus the Bengals offensive line. That's like the equivalent of Mike Tyson versus a third grader. It's going to be their undoing. And I mean, if the Bengals get down and the Rams can pin their ears back, I think it's over. Wow.
I'm kind of leaning towards the Bengals. And I'll tell you why I'm leaning that way. Besides Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon was ranked number 3 running back this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good running back. And, I know they got Aaron Donald and Von Miller, but they have let teams run on them. They can get pressure to the quarterback, no problem, but I don't know if they can stop the run, especially with a runner like Joe Mixon. If Joe Mixon can stay healthy throughout the whole game, but then again, the Rams have Cam Akers. He's back.
He's a fumbler.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're
Dude,
right.
he was so good in that first playoff game, and then the
Yeah, he
second
was.
game, he dropped 2 balls like they were hot.
I don't know.
Make your pick.
I know, right? Fuck. I'm going the Bengals. I'm picking the Bengals. No, I'm not. I'm picking the fucking Rams. Fuck off. I want Matthew Stafford to get it.
All right.
Ah.
It's so
Yeah, I'm going
tough,
Rams.
man, because you want, these teams, like, for different reasons, you want them to get it. And one of them's not going to. And it's going to suck real bad. But, you want to,
It's
in
not
my
going to
mind,
suck as bad for the Bengals.
see, that's where I disagree, because you can say that because they've got such a young team. But, man, getting to the Super Bowl is tough. It's tough. Like, Tom Brady make it look easy. This is not, just because Joe Burrow just started gives him no reason to believe that he will get ever back to the Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely, he will. He absolutely will. Think about it, dude. Well, no,
I like to
you're
think
right.
he
You're
would,
right.
but the
You're right.
chances are, it's hard. This is
Well,
not
look
an
how long
easy
it's
thing.
taking Matthew Stafford. No, fuck that.
Exactly.
Matthew Stafford needs to get it over Joe Burrow. Fuck
That's
that little
why I think
Jim Brew goat boy looking motherfucker.
Hey, between Eminem and Matt Stafford, this is the closest Detroit's gotten to the Super Bowl in their history.
yeah, I saw that meme. That was great.
It was pretty good. I was a fan.
All right. Who's next?
I guess I'll take the next pick. I'm not gonna lie. Burrow is gonna be on his back more than the dude fighting Fedor in Pride. Like, there's gonna be a lot of sacks. I don't think Cincinnati's gonna be able to get their run game off the ground. I genuinely think this might end up being a blowout. I'm taking the Rams by like 20.
Oh,
It's gonna be, yeah, I want it to be an entertaining Super Bowl. I really do. And
You need to bet the spread. Then they're supposed to only win by 5 points.
It's
well,
gone
they're
up.
win by
It started at
6.
3.5.
legally, I'm not allowed to bet the spread until March 5th. Unfortunately, bastards. But man, I want to say it's going to be close, and it probably will. It's the Super Bowl, but matchup wise, I mean, the Rams they're not a turnover team. They don't turn the ball over a lot. Matt Stafford's going to play sharp in a big situation. OBJ and the rest of that receiving core is going to show up. Their O-line is miles ahead of Cincinnati's. And the defense is other than a couple weak spots in the secondary, the Rams defense is phenomenal. It's going to be the Rams, folks.
All right. Mike?
Oh, I've already done mine.
Yeah, I thought.
Oh, yeah, you did the Rams. It's my turn, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm
we're
going with the
straight up
Bengals.
right now.
I'm going
Oh,
with the Bengals.
There he is.
And I'm not just being contrarian. I feel like they're in a place that San Francisco was, but they have talent. They've got momentum and talent. And I think that really helps a lot. And I don't know. I mean, I can't stop believing now. I've got to keep on with the Bengals. But I there's a big part of me that thinks the Rams will win because I feel like as a whole, of course, we all feel this way. They're a better team, but there's just something to be said with how this Bengals team is playing. It's scrappy. It's good. I love it.
If they had a better defense, I would agree with you. But to me, they don't have the defense to pull it off. Because most teams like this, like the way that Cincinnati has gotten here and come up through, they've always had a hell of a defense to rely on. Now, I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about Cincinnati's defense, and I hate to take away from them, but throughout these entire playoffs, I feel like the other team has lost more than they've won. And I know that's a big thing to say. And it's taken away from the Bengals and their accomplishments. But at the same time, dude, Tannehill lost that game.
I think it's fair.
Patrick
I
Mahomes
agree.
lost that game.
The referee straight up took 7 points off the board in the Raiders game.
Yeah. God, it seems like so long ago.
It does,
doesn't it?
but the Bengals run feels kind of like the Preds 2017 Cup run or a lot of other underdog championship runs where they make it to this round. They're just going to run out of steam, I think. At some point, you just kind of lose that momentum and you run into a better team.
Well, I mean, they've proven that they can get hit in the mouth and still come back from it. I mean, dude, they were down 21-3 against Kansas City.
Oh, of course. I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying sometimes Kansas City wasn't better than them in all three facets of the game, like LA is truly looks like. Kansas City had a weak defense, and that was noted going into the game.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
LA does not have a weak defense. They don't have really a weak special teams, as far as I know. I'd have to look at that.
I'll take your word for it.
What happened to their defense last week, though? I mean, they didn't. It was
They
good.
took advantage of a bad They took advantage of a bad quarterback.
Gosh, I mean, the 49ers
Bad quarterback
O-line
decisions.
is great. The 49ers O-line is a wonderful
Exactly.
thing, but it has nothing behind it to speak of. Like, it's great that it can protect a bunch of garbage, but there's no run game. There's no freaking.
Yeah,
Deebo Samuel is the only person on that team other than the O-line that
the
makes
Rams
any
defense
difference.
played. I think the Rams defense played great, as good as they could against Deebo and that O-line. I mean, you have
That
to get the
O-line
40.
is the best offensive line in the NFL.
But you
Trey
gotta
Lance
have
is
more
going to have
than
a great
that.
time next year.
You gotta. I mean, a great offensive line is a fucking foundational, wonderful thing to have, but you can't just have that.
I was actually having the argument with somebody online the other day. It's like they're like, "Oh, you got to build the O-line first," and I'm like, "Well, then you're stuck being like 6-11. You're stuck in a 6-win to 10-win purgatory where you have no skill positions.
Mm.
If you build the interior first, you have no quarterback. You end up with Ryan Tannehill or Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yep.
And you can win with that, but it's hard.
Well, the Bengals, they have no offensive line, and obviously they're set up to get their brains beat in if the game goes the right way. But I started thinking about this on the other side. The Rams are kind of suspect to the big play. I mean, Ramsey's been burnt a couple times pretty badly. They've got old man Weddle in the secondary. I've watched him, kind of different parts of games, and it looks like he's a couple steps slow out of position, which is natural for somebody who's been out of football for 2 years. So you take like a Jamar Chase in the right situation, I think that they are ripe to get hit a couple times on a big play in this game. And that might be how Cincinnati wins this. I think they definitely could win it. I think it's more likely the Rams will win it. But, man, it's really going to be – it's got to be on Burrow and Jamar Chase. And I think Mixon will have a lot to do with it too. But the big play is going to be live or die for them.
Yep. And Higbee and Higgins.
And Tyler Boyd, man. People act like Chase is the only one. He's the best, but he ain't the only one. I mean, look at how if they're smart, they'll use him as like decoy, like Buffalo did with who's their best receiver? Tell me what his name is. Diggs. When then he didn't throw him the ball, and Davis gets 15 touchdowns. Gabriel Davis, whoever the fuck that is.
Right.
So,
no, Boyd would definitely benefit.
Boyd's. I mean, he's all right. And then the big problem though is the one person that they had that went on the inside, the Uzuma, losing him. He's
gone. Tight end.
Yeah.
He
was the one guy over the middle they really could count on. So that's going to be a thing.
Yeah, but Higgins was tearing it up, man, over the middle that last game.
They need it.
Yeah.
Because they got the deep threat. We know that. And they can run the ball. So they need to be able to pass it in the middle.
And, Jamar Chase has been coming out of the backfield a lot this playoffs.
Just in the past few weeks. Yeah. I didn't do that this season. He didn't do that this season.
And, I mean, same thing Deebo was doing, too.
Yeah, they're both so twitchy, man. I mean, if they do one of these like quick in routes, they can break open if the ball's thrown at the right time. Nobody in the league can cover them. I mean, off that first step when they cut, nobody can cover them. And then Chase has the acceleration after that step, and he's taken it to the house several times this year. Yeah. So he's such a fun guy to watch. He kind of has like a little of this Randy Moss vibe about him, and I love watching him, except for the Titans game.
Yeah,
fun. Yeah. But man, I they're gonna have to run lots of like play action and lots of short intermediate plays because they're not gonna have time to do the big play. How are they gonna have time? I mean, this is the best pass rush they've played yet, and they've already played one pass rush that sacked them 9 times.
It's gonna be
Good
like
point.
it's gonna be like the Titans game. Only instead of us Titans throwing interceptions, Matthew Stafford is gonna actually
Well, that instead of Bud
connect with Cooper Cup a lot.
and instead of Bud Dupree, it's gonna be Von Miller in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. That's another level of human, as we've seen. Like Von Miller this postseason has been one of the most underrated players so far this postseason. He's been on fire for the Rams.
Oh, absolutely.
And we've seen what he does win the Super Bowl. Ew, I mean, Cam Newton
getting
probably
his
still
value.
has nightmares.
It's so interesting the way that these two teams were constructed so completely differently. You know, the Bengals were so bad they got the number 1 pick and got a quarterback of a century, and then are still just kind of slowly building around him and haven't completed it yet. But their quarterback is so good that he's made the difference and got them all the way here. On the other side, the Rams are giving away all their draft picks to anybody walking by for all kinds of veteran players, and they're somehow competitive every year. They don't have salary cap problems. Like it's pretty remarkable.
It's weird.
It kind of makes you
I hate
wonder. It kind of makes you realize that the cap is just bullshit number,
It kind of is.
and you can get around the shit if you really want to and really have are smart enough to work it. You can get around it, but
Man,
who am I?
so the Bengals and Rams built their teams against all traditional ways of building a team. The Rams they just don't realize the draft exists, I guess. They don't care about the draft. And the Bengals just decided instead of building they played Madden on the PS2 for a few hours and were like, oh, if we just build the QB and build the wide receiver, we can run the same passing play over and over again and win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's like a kid on Madden versus another kid on Madden.
Welcome to 2022.
Yeah. One kid traded all his draft picks for superstars, and the other kid drafted a QB and drafted a 99 overall wide receiver, and it's just going to go with that.
That's basically it.
Yeah, it's not a bad way of looking at it. But all right, so we got a little less than 2 weeks to go. So I guess we'll just hook up after the Super Bowl.
Y'all excited for the Pro Bowl?
No,
Me neither.
but why did that's why I was wrapping things up because
I know. I know. I love concluding with that though.
No. No, I mean, dude, they have quarterbacks drop. I mean, Russell Wilson is playing in the Pro Bowl.
Isn't Mac Jones in the Pro Bowl this year?
Yeah, and Mac Jones is as well.
That's great.
Guys,
Wow.
I'm going to tell
He
you, man,
deserves it.
the Pro Bowl only exists because there's contract incentives tied to making the Pro Bowl. And if it wasn't for that, nobody would want it. It would be gone.
If they finished rebuilding Aloha Stadium, everyone would want it, but they got to finish rebuilding the stadium in Hawaii first.
They need to go back to the skills competition. You guys remember those from back
Yeah,
then?
Yeah.
that's what me and
Yeah.
Cyrus were talking about, dude. That was
Yeah.
the best part of the whole fucking thing.
I used to watch those they used to air the
Now they're
replays
playing
on the NFL
dodgeball.
Network.
What the fuck, dude?
remember
see you play
remember the
dodgeball.
one year they did the draft and they brought all the guys in this room and it was like a 3-hour thing where the guys are like laying around bored as fuck and they're sitting there like drafting guys to be on the East team or the West team. And it was the most horrendous car crash that anybody's ever watched because these guys are like clearly not into it. And yeah, I mean, commend them for trying to do everything creative, man. But this thing needs to die.
Yeah, I agree. Well, guys, till next time.
All right.
All right.
Take
See
care.
y'all later.
Hey.
See ya.